back to winning isn't easy. Mutual of Omaha and subjective complaints of pain. Now, I've discussed how, in my view, Mutual of Omaha takes a really tight view of cases. And if it doesn't fit in their box, black and white, the claim is denied or terminated. And I referenced subjective complaint cases. And subjective complaint cases generally involve pain. And we all know that chronic pain can be caused by a number of medical problems, including fibromyalgia, rheumatoid arthritis, a herniated disc, a shoulder dislocation, you name it, it's chronic pain. And this pain can prevent you from performing your regular occupation and make you eligible for your disability benefits, or make you eligible for any occupation benefits if you're unable to perform any occupation by virtue of your disabling medical condition that prevents you from doing other occupations in view of not only those restrictions, but your education, past work history, and skills. Regardless of whether it's any OC or own OC, you have the burden to prove that you're disabled. So if you've got one of these Mutual of Omaha chronic pain cases and can't work anymore, what should you be doing? Well, obviously, as I've talked about, again, United of Omaha really tightly reviews and applies their policy. And they have multiple versions of their own disability policy. So you've got to get yours out. You got to read it cover to cover so you understand what it is you have to prove to be able to get your disability benefits. You also are going to be looking in that policy or plan for the subjective medical condition limitation. You're also going to be looking to see whether or not they have an objective medicine requirement. In other words, an objective basis of the diagnosis, an objective basis for your symptoms, an objective basis for your disability. Pain is not objective. There isn't an objective test for pain. And just because you're in pain doesn't mean that you're entitled to your benefits. And that was a lesson that Lisa Weber learned, and she learned it too late. She was employed by Accelerate Learning, and she suffered from extreme pain and weakness in her right leg. She applied for her benefits, which were paid until Mutual of Omaha said, "Nah, we're going to deny this claim because her complaints of pain were not supported by the medical records." In other words, no objective evidence, and the evidence that was there wasn't consistent. And this case was ultimately decided by a federal judge in Texas. Mutual of Omaha had her claim reviewed by multiple liar-for-hire medical providers. They also they use this phrase that I see a lot: pain was not supported by the medical records. So they cherry-pick the pain, the level of the pain, cherry-pick the cause of the pain. They cherry-pick the frequency of the pain. They cherry-pick the severity of the pain and say, you're not in pain, or you couldn't be in as much pain as you are, or the pain that you do have just isn't supported by your medical records and the objective testing. That's the combination that we see. And the peer review providers ultimately say, okay, not only isn't your pain not supported, you miraculously, hocus pocus, have no functional impairments. That's insurance ease that we see in a lot of disability claims. But that would prove fatal to her claim. So what do you have to prove in a chronic pain case? Well, you have to prove that you're disabled as that term is defined by your policy or plan. Make sure your medical records are documenting 1, the nature and complaints of your pain. 2, the organic or physical cause of those complaints. 3, there should be findings on physical examination and diagnostic studies that explain your pain and corroborate it. There should be an opinion from your physician regarding your functional restrictions that are caused by the pain or the underlying cause of the pain. And then 5, there should be an objective basis for those restrictions and limitations. So that means that you got to have a positive physical finding on exam of a severity that could cause this pain, diagnostic studies like MRIs, EMGs, nerve conduction study tests. But I think in a subjective pain case, one of the ways to do this is also to have a functional capacity evaluation, which is considered to be an objective measure. Yes, it's in part based on your subjective complaints, but the testing is also done in a manner that tests range of motion and strength, consistency for blood pressure and heart rate. So I think that there is a correlation, and courts have recognized that correlation. The bottom line is that complaints of continuous pain and weakness alone aren't going to be the basis for a judge to overturn a claims denial. So I told you what should be in the records, but in Ms. Weber's case, the medical records just didn't provide sufficient proof. And as a result, the claim denial was upheld. Again, knowing what you need to prove from the very beginning is crucial. Knowing what's in your medical records is crucial. Knowing how to fix any deficiency in your medical records is key. Knowing how to supplement those records with your own independent medical evaluation or an FCE is key. Got it? All right, time for a break.